When you're an authoritarian regime, you're very used to laying down the law and demanding that those around you sit up, take notice, and do as you say. That is the psychology of Beijing and how it prefers to run its affairs both domestically and now internationally. And so it should come as no surprise that in Bali on Friday, during the meeting between Senator Penny Wong and the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, Australia was given another list to adhere to. Now, remember, we already had a list handed to us via the Chinese ambassador to Australia back in 2021, an infamous 14-point itemised list of grievances that Australia was expected to follow. And the Morrison government gave it short shrift, thankfully. But as Australia attempts to renew its relationship and hold talks in Bali, they did it again. This time, a 4-point plan from the Chinese, which they said Australia should seize with a view to improving bilateral relations. It included treating China from now on as a partner, not a rival. We must reject manipulation by a third party. In other words, it's clearly a demand to ditch our relationship with the United States and maybe even ditch AUKUS. Plus, we must build public support featuring positiveness and pragmatism. I can only guess that that means no matter what they do militarily or against their minority groups like the Uyghurs, we no longer criticise their aggressive attitude or their human rights violations. We've got to think positive, like all good communist regimes do when they're trying to twist the truth. Don't you love the almost father-daughter relationship we have now? Here are your chores, Beijing says. No lip, no negotiation, and if you do what we say, to our satisfaction, we may get on again. Now go. They must be joking. And thankfully, that's almost what the Prime Minister said today when asked about the new shortened list of demands.
Australia doesn't respond to demands, we respond to our own national interest. I'll say this, we will cooperate with China where we can. I want to build good relations with all countries, but we will stand up for Australia's interests when we must.
The road back to the relationship Australia once had with China is still a long, long journey, despite last week's crucial talks, the first of their kind in 3 years. But to the Prime Minister's credit there, he's not prepared to suck up. He's not prepared to speak glowingly of China in all circumstances. And he's not prepared to be dictated to. And that's the key point here. China's the one who mangled the trade and diplomatic relationship, not Australia. And neither side has the right to demand adherence to a list of grievances. Neither side. The fact that China thinks that this is the way to mend fences shows how poles apart the two countries are, culturally and politically. And at this rate, despite the two face-to-face meetings between both countries' key ministers recently, there's unlikely to be any real progress made for years. The truth is, in terms of its dealings with China, Australia has remained static and fair. It is Beijing's more aggressive and authoritarian attitude towards the rest of the world, including us, that's changed considerably. Now, we won't be bowing down to any list of demands, and the sooner Beijing understands that, the better.